Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 cents for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try to catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, boom. Major look.
Once again, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to World Combat Sports. Salute to each and every one of you that's in the building. That support WCS. Everything boxing and sports is on deck. What is good? Be sure to check him out. Subscribe to the channel. Support the brother. And support the content he putting out all day. The news is out. Tyron Woodley got next up, y'all. Tyron Woodley. I felt the energy that this may be the next fight for Jake Paul, because a lot of shit that you're witnessing right now in combat sports, especially with this Jake Paul and Logan Paul, it's all scripted. You might as well say it's the World Wrestling Federation. They're pretty much trying to build up enough fanfare to tune in, so they have to set the scene. Look, I'm not mad at what they're doing. If you feel you have to set the scene to gravitate fans to check you out in what we call, a mixed genre of combat sports, then okay, cool. We know Jake Paul is not a boxer. We know his brother Logan Paul isn't a boxer. But what I can say about Tyron Woodley is he's been a world champion. He's certified. Like Tyron Woodley, the chosen one. He was a world champion at welterweight at 170 pounds. Now, with what's been going on with Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul, and now the situation that happened at the Triller Fight card when, Jake Paul was there to fight Ben Askren. Tyron Woodley was working his corner. Words was exchanged back when gloves was being wrapped, and Tyron Woodley was back there saying his piece, and he was having a dialogue, verbal sparring back and forth with Jalen Love. I kind of felt it. I say, man, this seems like, I don't know, man, I might be way off, but it felt like Tyron would be next up. It just felt like they wanted to give the fight fans a preamble. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to give us a taste, see how we latch on to it in the media, see if we took to it. And I guess it worked. Jake Paul is going to be facing former world champion, mixed martial artist, Tyron Woodley. Now, what I can say between these two is that Tyron Woodley was actually a certified official world champion. Jake Paul, this will be the biggest name on his resume. But let's break this shit down. Let me share screen with you because I want to make it very clear. First, the difference in careers that we're looking at. Woodley gonna go whoop him. He got real hands. But Dana White said if you sign to the UFC, he's not gonna let it happen. The one thing about that, Keon, is that he's no longer signed with the UFC. Tyron Woodley is a free agent. That's why I'm about to share screen and have y'all check this shit out. Tyron Woodley is a free agent. That's real talk. So peep this. Let me take this down. So what you're looking at is the topology. You know, if you want to check out mixed martial artists and so forth, go to the topology, man. You know what I'm saying? Go to the topology. This is Jake Paul's topology. He fought Ali Gibb back in January 2020. And then in November, he had the infamous knockout that amazingly, this is just crazy, amazingly put him on the scene, y'all. Jake Paul knocked out a basketball player who never sparred, who didn't know what sparring was about. People took that knockout, made countless memes on it, and that kind of catapulted Jake Paul to somewhat the stardom that he's been receiving. Peep this out. When Logan Paul fought KSI on the DAZN card, no one really even cared about Jake Paul. People tuned in to see Logan Paul fight KSI, and man, they did pretty decent numbers. Then after that, a couple of months later, I believe, Jake Paul went in there and fought Ali Gibb. No one was looking for Jake Paul. No one considered him to be better of the Paul brothers, but now he is. He walks in there and defeats Nate Robinson in his second professional boxing bout, a non-boxer. I speak about this all the time, how a person can get boxing license so easily. Nate Robinson, no amateur experience, no professional boxing experience. He went in there and got knocked out cold, face first. Then he steps in there recently, April 2021 this year. He fights former multi-time world champion Ben Askren. Ben Askren was never a UFC champion, but he was in neighboring organizations. He was somewhat a respectable top-tier wrestler. All right? So, of course, he went in there with a much anticipated fight with Jake Paul. And, you know, from the way his open workout looked, I said, damn, Ben Askren has pretty good hands. He's been working with a boxing coach. But it's a difference between going through drills on the mitts and repeated drills and getting used to that combination set, getting used to that remediation. Then you actually answering the bell and you have a moving opponent with you. And from the way Ben looked at the open workout to the answer in the first bell was totally two different people. He had this antiquated boxing style as if we're looking at something in the 1940s. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But anyway, Jake Paul knocked his ass out in round one. He froze up just the way he did when Jorge Masvidal landed that knee. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if it was, you know, I can't call it. Like, for him to get hit stiff like that and freeze up and fall the way he did, that may be a CTE problem. I can't really call it with him because, you know, before he came to the UFC, people, he was undefeated. He'd never been knocked out with punches at all. His only loss came at the hands of Jorge Masvidal when he was 19-0. So Jorge Masvidal finished him in 5 seconds. Then he went in there against Damian Maia and he ended up being submitted. But the first time he was ever stopped with punches in his professional career was when he stepped in there with Jake Paul. This was the first one. So you see right here, Jake Paul is 3-0. His last win was over Ben Askren. So his next fight, stroll up here, 3-0. His next fight is going to be versus versus Tyron Woodley. But look at this age right here. I'm telling you, people, check this out. Jake Paul is 24 years old, getting all this hype. 6 feet from Cleveland, Ohio. Fighting out of Calabasas, California. Look at that shit right there. Cleveland, Calabasas. They both start with a C, but they're quite different. Career earnings, y'all, career earnings at 3-0 is damn near close to $750,000. That's unbelievable. Anyway, let me get up out of here. Let me go to my boy Tyron Woodley. So let me share screen and show you Tyron Woodley, somebody who's actually competed on the highest level and pretty much earned a championship the right way. So peep this out right here. This is Tyron Woodley. Let me go to the top. Tyron Woodley is 19-7-1. When I see him, you look at his picture right here, look totally different, huh, than his earlier days. He was bulked up, man, didn't have good cardio, crazy. But his record is 19 victories, 7 defeats, 1 draw. Look at his age, 39 versus a 24-year-old, 39. All right. Now, he represent, he's an ATT affiliate, American Top Team. He represented when he was winning very well. Tyron Woodley went in there and dusted off Robbie Lawler. He fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson twice, won in a draw, and won the second time in the rematch he defeated him. And then he fought Damian Maia, a BJJ world champion. He ended up winning the UD. I think he stuffed like 23, 24 takedowns from Damian Maia, tore his labrum in the first round and still fought. Then he fought Darren Till, a much bigger opponent, and he crushed him, dropped him with a right hand, did some GMP ground and pound, maintained top control, and then he got him up out of there with a sub. But check this out, though. Tyron Woodley is on a 3-fight losing streak from his mixed martial arts genre, combat sports, competitive combat sports. He lost his title to Kamaru Usman in his 5th defense, right? And then, that was in 2019. From there on in 2020, he goes and fights Gilbert Burns. He fights Gilbert Burns, who has much shorter arms than Tyron Woodley, but he's been, Gilbert Burns is a BJJ world champion, ADCC, Abu Dhabi Combat Club, ADCC, BJJ world champion, and many other accolades and credentials that Gilbert Burns has. But one thing about Gilbert, he was been working on his boxing skills with Derek Santos. This I know for a fact. He went in there and won a unanimous decision. He dropped Woodley in the process. And Gilbert Burns, in my opinion, is not known as a striker like that. But that was his second skid. His third skid against a guy, Colby Covington, who Tyron Woodley, man, had real legitimate personal beef with. And in my opinion, Tyron Woodley, he went out with a round 5 rib injury. I'm not sure if I can't say it wasn't legit, but I don't know, man. He was getting beat up pretty decent in that Colby Covington fight, and he surrendered in round 5, rib injury, right? Then his last fight, which was March of this year, he went in there against Vicente Luque, and Vicente, man, locked in a Darce choke, and Tyron tapped. I was like, damn, Tyron tapped from that. Like, I done seen Tyron on the ground, I mean, the only other, that's the same submission that he choked out Darren Till with. But if you look at, his fights, he even lost to Rory McDonald via unanimous decision. Knee injury to Carlos Condit. Josh Koscheck punches. This is when he used to fight early on. Decision. So you don't see Tyron Woodley getting subbed out too much. He has one right here, but that's when he was in Strike Force and he didn't even have a team. Tyron Woodley didn't even have a team back then. He was pretty much doing this shit solo dolo, self-trained. So he has a draw right here, majority unanimous, Darce choke win over Darren Till, and then he gets a Darce choke applied on him by Vicente Luque. And what I'm trying to tell you is it's a 4-fight losing streak. That concerns me at his age being 39 years old outside of 40, going in there with a 24-year-old fighter like Jake Paul. Tyron Woodley has to go in here, and I don't even want to sit up here and play myself. I don't even want to play myself and say Tyron Woodley need to go in here and shock the world. He ain't shocking the world if he go in there and knock out Jake Paul. He just need to go shut down the train, man. Derail that motherfucker. That's all Tyron Woodley needs to do. Derail it. Because this shit is crazy right now. The Paul brothers are getting big top tier names. They're not active. They're not active fighters like that who's holding the belt. Like when it comes down to it, it's boxing. You're not utilizing any other joints or any other extremities on your body than your two hands. You're not headbutting, you're not elbowing, kneeing, you're not able to kick high, low, you're not able to punch below the belt, none of that. In mixed martial arts, you can do just that. You can punch below the belt, you can do all that. Jake Paul is now signed with Showtime. Tyron Woodley has to go in here and make a good account of himself. If Jake Paul goes in here and knocks Tyron out, he needs to go in seclusion because he talked mad shit in there to Jalen Love. He told him he was certified before he even stepped into the combat arena and started competing as a mixed martial artist. He was certified in the streets. Hey, I believe him. I believe Tyron Woodley was certified in the streets. Like Tyron Woodley was sleeping motherfuckers. Period. He's much older now. He's on a losing streak. I really, it was said he had some personal issues going on, when he was going through that skid and all that. I really couldn't tell you. But if he lets Jake Paul go in there and defeat him via knockout, just like his friend Ben Askren, it's going to look bad on Tyron. It's not going to look bad on mixed martial arts. I try to tell people all the time, this is not going to throw any type of shade on mixed martial arts because the individuals that he's dealing with at the present time, they step in there with Jake Paul. They're not active champions. They're not ranked in the top 5. They're not. Tyron Woodley is not ranked at all. Ben Askren is not ranked at all. It's not like he's fighting someone that's actually close to his weight class. So, let me give you a comparison. Like, he's 190. Jake Paul's 190. And he competes up there around middleweight with Israel Adesanya. I'm not saying Israel Adesanya, the current middleweight champion, would fare well in a boxing match, but he will. But he will do great. You know why? I can kind of throw him in there if he truly wanted to do it and Dana White won't let it happen. Because Israel Adesanya used to kickbox. Israel Adesanya will fuck Jake Paul up because he used to kickbox. He has that background. But for Tyron Woodley, all he had was like mixed martial arts. And even when he was fighting in mixed martial arts, he had that right hand, one hitter quitter. But he had a way to lure you in. He would fight off the back foot, back, and he allowed his opponent to draw them in. And he'd get close enough to the cage to the point where his opponent said, okay, he can't go nowhere. Come in, he crack him, drop him, and then it's over. Or, if he closed the distance and land that right hand, he had this thing where he blitz. He let the 1-2 go. He just blitz, throw about a 6-punch combination. And it doesn't matter how many he missed. It's the one that lands that counts for him. He just want to land one of them. And then in the cage, what happened? You go straight back, and you get cracked. But what do you all think about this fight? Let me know. What do you think about this fight, man? I mean, Jake Paul is signed with Showtime, and he's stepping up his competition with a former world champion in Tyron Woodley. With all the talk, with all the damn shit talking, and everything, Tyron Woodley is still the smaller fighter. I would think Tyron might be walking around about 180 right now, 180, I think. 185 per se. He really doesn't allow himself to get out of shape like that. He might be walking around like 180, 185. So he's still going to be the smaller fighter. But does he have the cardio? Ben Askren was able to avoid Jake Paul's right hand. I was looking at it through the lens. He was able to slip that damn right hand because them Paul brothers love throwing that damn overhand right. I'm telling you, they love throwing that overhand right, man. It's not gonna. It's not gonna take anybody that has to be, currently reigning world champion right now to beat Jake Paul and Logan Paul. Both of them somewhat fight the same. They love loading up on that right hand. All you need is a boxer, which they're unwilling to fight right now, except Logan Paul. But the boxer that he's facing, TBE, Money Mayweather, has been retired. He's much older. So look at the trend. Look at what the Paul brothers are making, all this money off of. They're messing with the older fighters. They're messing with fighters who's coming off surgery. You know what I'm saying? Tyron Woodley, 39. Ben Askren's in his late 30s. Floyd Mayweather in his 40s already. Come on, bro. Michael in the building. What's good with you, P. Scott? I don't know about this fight. I just seen Woodley get beat, and quite a few times too. Yeah, he on a losing streak right now, man. He's on the 4-fight losing streak right now. You know what I'm saying? He just lost to Vicente Luque. Big dog in the building. Salute, bro. Salute WCS. Woodley set this up at the last locker room. Is he punch drunk? Can't let that happen. I want to know myself, dog. J8, salute combat. Salute to you, my brother. What's good? I'm on this grill trying to hold it together. Y'all wish me luck. Man, I hope you let that meat thaw out first. I done seen some people throw some cold ass meat on the grill thinking the heat gonna do it. Man, it ain't happening. If Jake sleeps Tyron, I would not be surprised. Man, I know, man. I know. Tyron Woodley, man, he like the only fight I can, reflect on that he got slept bad was against Nate Marquardt back in his strike force days. Real talk. That's the only fight that I can pull up, that I can reflect upon that he got slept real bad. Let me go back over here right quick. So check this out. Hold on for a second. Let me go back down to this fight right here, Nate Marquardt. Look at this right here. Look at that. Look at that. Undefeated. Nate Marquardt knocked him out with some vicious punches in round 4. Vicious punches. Tyron Woodley was 10-0. 10-0, y'all, when he stepped in there with Nate Marquardt. Look at this. He just don't go get knocked out now. Split, decision, unanimous, win. Jake Shields split. And Jake Shields is a BJJ savage. You know what I'm saying? What about Josh Koscheck? He knocked him out with punches. Round 1, Carlos punches. Roy McDonald, unanimous decision. So when he was coming up, even when we go to his skid, right? Unanimous decision now. Rib injury, submission. So he's not getting knocked out like that. You feel me? He's not getting knocked out just for GP, Tyron Woodley. I do believe he's past his competitive edge, though, his competitive prime, but he's not getting knocked out. I mean, what y'all think about that, man? Tyron Woodley does not get slept like that. So being that he's now transferring for 4-ounce gloves over to 10-ounce gloves, that's what it should be at that weight. It should be 10 ounce. He's transferring over to boxing where he cannot throw any kicks. You know, he can clinch, he can hold, punch. You know what I'm saying? But this is a professional boxing match. And I think with Tyron Woodley's cardio issues, sometimes in his mixed martial arts fights, I'm not sure, man. It's ways for a mixed martial artist to conserve energy if they want. They can press one another up against the cage, you know, put that seatbelt on, you know, change levels, or they can get top position, lay and pray. It's so many things they can do to catch a second win. Boxing, you back up against the ropes and your opponent's coming right there towards you. You know, it's not many rest areas inside that four corner quadrant, that boxing domicile. You have to throw punches to keep your opponent off of you. I've seen Tyron wilt in certain cases, but one thing I believe he still has, even at 39 years old, I believe he has punching power enough to KO Jake Paul. I truly believe that. I believe Tyron Woodley has enough punching power. Problem that I see is, does Tyron Woodley has enough boxing experience to keep Jake Paul off of him once he starts to tire? Because I'm thinking if Jake Paul applied pressure on Tyron Woodley, you know, even if he playing safe, if he keep his distance and play it safe with Tyron Woodley, but pressure him and force him to move, because Tyron Woodley, he loves playing counterpuncher. I'm just curious to how that's going to play out, man. Like, does Tyron Woodley has enough time to prepare himself? He's out of the UFC, so before he was back there in the locker room talking, was he practicing in any boxing? He said he was helping Ben Askren. He's cornered Ben Askren. He himself, was he on the mitts? Was he practicing outside of mixed martial arts? Because boxing and mixed martial arts is different than boxing training. Okay, boxing training mixed martial arts is different than training boxing to go in there and box. Real talk, they're not the same. So I'm very, very curious to know how long Tyron Woodley has been training boxing. How long has he been remediating, and getting himself used to some sparring? You know, that's my problem. Like these mixed martial artists, since you sparred another, you have a sparring partner in mixed martial arts, it doesn't mean that it's going to transfer over to the boxing ring. You have to get some boxers that go in there and tune you up so you can learn as much as you possibly can, so you wouldn't come in here flatlining like Nate Robinson. You got to change this shit up. We're going to continue to see the Paul brothers make all this change, and they fighting over the hill fighters. It's going to come upon a time where they're going to have to fight somebody that's considered legitimate, that's still active, that's not on a 4-fight losing streak, that's not retired. You know, you're going to have to make that decision to fight somebody like that if you keep winning. Now, of course, there's been a lot of banter going around, a lot of whispers that people actually believe Floyd Mayweather is going to take his first L in an exhibition bout, because this L would not affect his professional record, but it will go down as, you know, talking points out here on social media that he took an L against a YouTube sensation. I don't think that'll sit right with Floyd. I think, you know, with him going in here, he say, I do this, I believe it. I believe all that shit. Floyd hasn't proven to me yet for me to doubt him. So when he go in here and say, I do this, I've been doing this, I understand what I'm getting myself into. I believe Floyd. I do. I cannot sit up here and say, you know what, he's retired, he's getting old. A part of me want to say that. I want to use that narrative to say the younger Logan Paul can catch him. And then it takes me back to how defensively masterful Floyd Mayweather was. I'm not saying he wasn't against Tenshin Nashikawa. I'm not saying that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he wasn't defensively savvy and still had his wits about him when he fought Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor was 0-0 as a professional boxer. So a lot of shit Floyd allowed him to get away with, his boxing sucked. Let's be honest. Conor McGregor is a motherfucking counterpuncher. He has it when he has his legs in the octagon and shit like that. He presses you and presses you, but he doesn't throw punches in bunches. He tried to send that left hand your way. That's all. So he had an easy go. Floyd allowed him to, be carried through rounds until he stopped him in the 10th. Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. It's a very interesting matchup. I want to give Tyron Woodley a puncher's chance in this scenario. I really do. But since I followed the sport since the beginning, I do understand Tyron Woodley has cardio issues. You're not going to be able to clinch and hold like you would do in mixed martial arts to a point. Let's say you're working on your wrestling, you're trying to work for a takedown. So you're strong enough, being that Tyron Woodley has wrestling. He has a wrestling pedigree. He can once again go up against the cage and hold. But in boxing, the referee is going to break you. You're not going to be able to gather your wind and get those lungs down a little bit because those motherfuckers are burning. A lactic acid is setting in. You're not going to be able to do that in boxing. I'm just up here contemplating on what I should say in this scenario. From judging on what I'm seeing from Jake Paul, knocking out Ben Askren, that really doesn't pique my interest enough when it comes to Tyron Woodley. And then I go to Tyron Woodley, your last loss was a submission. I really think, man, this is a 50-50 fight. I just can't say Tyron's going to go in there and get knocked out. But if he gasses with somebody like Jake Paul, I think he may put away some rounds, like real talk. If this is like an 8-round fight, can Tyron Woodley, who has went 5 rounds in mixed martial arts, is he able to go 8 rounds with 3 minutes per round? Is he capable of that? Because people have to understand, just because mixed martial artists, they go a maximum of 5 rounds, it's 5 minutes per round, y'all. Now let me educate you on some shit. 8 rounds in boxing is how many minutes? 24 minutes, right? 5 rounds in mixed martial arts is how many? 25 minutes. It's quite different. It's multifaceted in their striking discipline. But 5 rounds in mixed martial arts is 25 minutes. 8 rounds in boxing is 24 minutes. Just let that sit with you a little bit. It's not like Tyron haven't went rounds, but we're talking about with heavier gloves on, not the 4-ounce gloves, which that makes a difference. And also, the rounds are much shorter. That's going to be unique for Tyron Woodley, who's used to going 5-minute rounds. He's used to knowing how to move around the cage if he gets tired. That might work to his benefit big time, seriously. Because Jake Paul don't know what that's like. Jake Paul doesn't know what it's like to fight a 5-minute round. Tyron Woodley does. And that may play a significant factor in this fight outside of their punching ability. Money Brown TV in the building. Salute Money Brown. I see you. Salute Scotty, my brother. Floyd about to break that man's face. Hey, man, I'm going for Floyd, period. You know what I'm saying? I just hope, Floyd doesn't tarnish or put his legacy out there for people to speak on. Because like I told people before, right? I told people, Floyd will tell you straight up, if he even came close to losing or if he lost in this fight, it will not affect his boxing record. This is an exhibition bout. This is an exhibition bout. You're not going to see, if it was to occur, you're not going to see a loss on Floyd's record. That's just the way it is. And Floyd will tell you, just like he told Brian Kenny, hold up. Hey, hold up. Answer me this. If you pull up BoxRec right now, what you see? Brian Kenny would say, no, that's not the top. No, hold up, Brian, because you asked me for an interview. I ain't asked you for an interview. So pull up BoxRec and tell me what you see. It says you're still on the. Okay. That's all I want to know. I don't want to hear nothing else. It says I'm still undefeated, and that's what it is. Floyd will tell you that shit. Then he'll turn around and say, answer me this. Answer this, Brian. How much money did I make off this Logan Paul fight? Okay. That's all I want to know. I made millions, right? That's all I want to know. That's the extent of it. This is wild, man. Because I'm about to tell you some shit that make it extremely wild. They make it extremely unique. Both Paul brothers, who are white, are about to face two black fighters who were former world champions. You feel me? They're about to fight two legitimate fighters, YouTubers. They're about to step in the square. Do you know how many of us would like to step in the square with some legitimate world champions and get paid what they're getting paid without the experience? These two, Logan and Jake Paul, are about to fight two legitimate former world champions. Logan Paul is about to step in there with Floyd Mayweather, Hall of Famer. And Tyron Woodley, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But people are going to talk about it because, once again, when it comes to black and white, stepping into any type of combat sports, especially when you have the world champion credential to your name, people are going to look at this shit and look for damn discrepancies. They're going to be scrutinizing Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather's fight this week, just like they're doing Linares and Haney. Seriously, they're going to be looking for shit to talk about. Well, Floyd didn't look that good. They're going to forget that he's retired. Well, Floyd took some punishment in this round. But if Logan Paul doesn't win, it's all for naught. It doesn't make any sense. For Jake Paul, if he goes in there and defeats Tyron Woodley, man, they're going to treat that shit as if Tyron Woodley was a current reigning defending world champion. I'm telling you. Man. I'm telling you. Just look at the way the shit happened with Jake Paul knocking out Nate Robinson. They ran with that shit. They made all the memes. They put that man all over social media as if he was the reigning defending NBA slam dunk champion. They had like that man still had fresh legs to jump over Jake Paul and come down with a Superman punch. These guys, they better ride the shit out this wave with a longboard, because it's going to hit short sooner or later. You're going to continue to make this money. More fighters going to call you out. Now that Jake Paul is signed with Showtime, They're going to increase his competition however they want to finagle. They're going to finagle that motherfucker somehow, some way. And he's going to have to continue to improve his competition. With improving his competition, people, he's going to be able to have better trainers. You know what I'm saying? He's with legitimate boxing trainers right now. I don't like to be honest with you. I told you that Tyron Woodley was American top team. So they have legitimate, validated, certified trainers over there at AT&T. But when it comes to boxing, you have to find a boxing gym to embed yourself in and have enough time for that to get your shit right. A lot of people are looking at Jake Paul. Man, I don't talk to so many people and they say, hey, he legitimate box. He can box now. He can box. And then you look at his age, 24 years old, and you saying, damn, how far can Jake Paul go? Like, this dude is so young. We're talking about him being around Teofimo Lopez's age, Devin Haney age. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Garcia around that. Gervonta Davis, so to speak, who's about 25, 26 or whatever. I mean, this is a young lion, so he can only learn. So let's just say he continue to win. He's still in his 20s. That's the crazy part about it. These Paul brothers are still young in the game to make a whole lot of money. How in the hell did Logan Paul get the Floyd Mayweather fight? I'm just puzzled. Like, how does that shit happen? How do you go in there with a legend? And you was clicking keys all your life. You was up there clicking down home keys, making Vine videos, acting goofy. Logan Paul had the goofiest damn BoxRec pick out there in life. It doesn't mean he can't fight. I'm saying it is the weirdest, goofiest looking picture. Go out there and look up Logan Paul BoxRec, and you just say to yourself, oh my God. Andrew Charles in the building. What's good? Salute WCS. Salute to you, my brother. Appreciate you. Even Floyd said his plan for McGregor was to break him down and in the 9th round try to close. By then, it passed 25 minutes and he would be gassed. One thing about that, Jade, anybody who followed mixed martial arts knew damn well Conor McGregor cardio sucked. They could have looked at how short his fights was from Silver to Chad Mendez, 13 seconds with Jose Aldo winning the title. And then going up to welterweight to fight Nate Diaz. He gassed out badly because Nate Diaz is a very decent boxer. So when he was tired that quick, what happened? He shot in for a takedown out of desperation against a BJJ black belt. And Nate Diaz put that RNC in and choked his ass out. Now, when it comes to this particular scenario with the Paul brothers, we don't know how their cardio is. Do we truly know what their cardio is like? Like, their fights aren't as active. The performance level, the energy is not high enough for me to gauge to see if they have cardio, except for Logan Paul. Logan Paul, we seen him gas out against KSI. We seen that shit, but that was a long time ago. The one thing about Logan Paul is he hasn't fought nobody since that KSI fight, dog. To go from KSI, one of your YouTube constituents, to Floyd Money Mayweather, a boxing legend. Come on already. This boxing shit has me puzzled, dog. Like, how can you go from fighting a YouTube compeer to taking all that time off to come back around and Floyd Mayweather's land in your inbox? Floyd Mayweather is fighting you in an exhibition bout where he's going to be 160 and you win 190. Who does that shit? How long can Floyd keep this shit up? How much does he have left in his all the wear and tear on his body from the amateurs to the professionals? What is left with Floyd? Why is he still taking fights like this? I've heard rumors that, I'm not even going to say it. They want to talk about the money, the man's money. I don't like doing that shit. People, first thing they want to say, Floyd broke. He ain't broke, because the car collection that he has, all them motherfuckers can go back and he can be pretty rich again. But it's just a lifestyle. People gonna say, oh, he broke, he need the money. But how do you go from YouTube fighting another YouTuber, being out, your brother takes over the boxing scene for the Paul family. He's making waves by knocking out a former slam dunk winner to fighting Floyd Mayweather. It's crazy. What's going on, Alex? Salute to you. He said, salute to WCS in the chat. Yo, what's going on with the Paul brothers? Are they taking over the spotlight or something? I believe Woodley going to put it on Paul. I don't see it going past the 8th. It's not going past the 8th because they're not fighting past 8 rounds. They're not fighting. There's no way. There's no way Tyron Woodley can go in here and attempt to do what Conor McGregor was going to do, because you're talking 2 different weight classes at the time, 2 different athletes. To answer your question about the spotlight, absolutely they taking the spotlight. Absolutely. And from who I've spoken with, the boxers don't seem to be too worried about them taking the spotlight and making all this money. Like, it's legitimate certified fighters out here that's sitting at 15, 20, 25 and 0, 25 and 2, whatever you want to call it. They put work in. They're not making that type of money. They're not making the Paul brother money. I mean, I could say for Jake Paul, they're not. But for even Logan Paul, his fight in there with KSI, he made pretty damn good money. So they taking the spotlight. Absolutely. And how they're doing it is just it's just amazing that they're able to pull it off like that. Like, both of these guys are about to step in there with 2 former world champions. Multi-division world champion in Floyd Mayweather. Welterweight world champion in Tyron Woodley. And they're about to step in there and fight some YouTube personalities. It's just unbelievable, man. You think about it. It make you really think, damn, how serious is this sport? Like, even though boxers won't show their hand, like, you have a lot of boxers that won't show their hand, like, they'll keep the poker face, and you ask them, say, what you think about this Jake and Logan shit? Man, I ain't got nothing to say about that. Get your bag, man. Get your bag. I ain't worried about that shit. Do what you do. Man, they doing what they doing, man. Get that bag. Mixed martial arts? Hell no. Hell no. You want to bring your ass over here to mixed martial arts, huh? For real? Okay. Let's get on this mat right here. Before you even try to think you want to fight, let's get on this mat right here. We ain't gonna just show up on fight night. Let's get on this mat. Let's see what you got. Getting on the mat doesn't mean they're going, into grappling or whatever. A mat can be there for sparring, or whatever. It's not just grappling, wrestling, and all that. I just don't think that at all. I know the mixed martial arts community wouldn't go down like that. Like, you wouldn't have Atkins and what was that girl name? Estrada. Estrada was this secondary champion. Had the Intercontinental. I forgot what she had. Right. She went in there with Atkins, who was 5-0, and knocked her out cold. What was it, like 7 seconds? Something like that. Boxing is weird, man. Y'all hold on for a minute. I mean, Yeah, we back. But pretty much, I just wanted to touch bases on this fight. I really don't know what the date is, but let me read off this article right quick. So, just so I can, show you how serious this is. Paul opens up as betting favorite against Woodley, and the odds are getting wider. The odds are getting wider. You know what I'm saying? Let's go back. It says per MMA Junkie, right? It says it seems the MMA world isn't done with Jake Paul just yet. The athletics Mike Coppinger, we all know who that is, first reported that Paul has agreed to a boxing match with former UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley for later this year. There you go. It's later this year. MMA Junkies subsequently confirmed the booking with the person with knowledge of the agreement who asked to remain anonymous because the contest has not been formally announced. Sources: Jake Paul and former UFC welterweight, this is from Mike Coppinger on Twitter, and former UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley has agreed to a deal for a boxing match. Jake recently signed a multi-fight deal with Showtime. Friday face-off in Miami planned to promote the event. Paul coming off his first round KO of Ben Askren. So they're going to be out in Miami this weekend for the Floyd Logan, and they're going to do the face-off. What you will see with Jake Paul, you're probably going to see a significant size difference, but it shouldn't be that much because I've seen people tower over Tyron Woodley and get knocked the fuck out. This article goes on to say Paul 3-0 boxing made headlines in April with the first round knockout of former Bellator and ONE Championship title holder Ben Askren in a Triller Fight Club boxing event. Paul's previous two victories came over NBA veteran Nate Robinson and YouTuber Ali Gibb. The polarizing Paul, they're saying this dude is polarizing now. They're inserting language. They saying the polarizing Paul. Wow. When I seen him, I didn't think that. I was like, I don't get polarizing. But anyway, on with the article. The polarizing Paul signed a promotional contract with Showtime Sports earlier this month. And on Monday, he took to social media to tease a new matchup. Quote, "This would be the hardest fight I've had. The toughest opponent by far. The most known opponent," Paul wrote on his Instagram. "We will break another boxing PPV record." What you talking about? Another? We will break another. Paul also took to Twitter to promise a formal bout announcement on Tuesday. Now, if Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley break another PPV record or whatever he's talking about, you have to be concerned as to where legitimate hardcore boxing fans are placing their interests. You should be concerned. Woodley previously expressed his desire for the matchup, openly challenging Paul in an interview with TMZ. "Come and get this smoke for real," Woodley said. "I'm in and I can actually find him." People that keep talking about fighting him, they're not even in a position to fight him. I can actually fight him. Woodley is 19-7 MMA, 9-6-1 UFC, is currently ranked number 11 in the latest USA Today Sports MMA Junkie welterweight rankings. What? Number 9? Wow. The former UFC champion recently ended his tenure in MMA's biggest promotion following an 8-year run. The chosen one closed out his octagon career on a 4-fight skid, ceding that title to current champ Kamar Usman, before also suffering setbacks against current top contenders Gilbert Burns, Colby Covington, and Vicente Luque. And that's pretty much the article in itself. They really didn't say too much new information. They didn't provide a fight date. What we did find out is that Woodley and Paul is going to have a face-off this week, okay, to promote the fight. But once again, I'm a little bit, jittery on this polarizing, the polarizing Paul signing promotion. They're actually considering this guy to be polarizing. Wow. Real talk. Mark Nash in the building. I mean, I just said it wasn't official. They're going to make it official this week. They're going to make this fight official this week. It's all over from credible sources. Yahoo is speaking on it. MMA Junkie is speaking on it. So the source is legitimate to say that we're going to have a Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul fight next. It only makes sense being that they pretty much built this fight up since the night that he was in there cornering his good friend Ben Askren. See, the MMA guys believe this is MMA versus boxing a little bit, but the one area they should take a look at is that their top fighters in MMA are not stepping into the ring with the guy who's 24 years old. These are guys who have worked themselves up. They've had somewhat a stellar career. So just so to speak, even Ben Askren. Ben Askren had a stellar career now. He was Bellator and ONE Championship champion. He came up to the UFC 18-0 now. You have to give him his credit. He had a stellar career. The two losses he faced in the UFC, I really can't speak on, because when it comes down to it, a knee in 5 seconds, that rarely happens. You know what I'm saying? And then for him to get subbed out, playing around on the ground with a BJJ special is just Ben Askren being a little bit idiotic. Taking it for granted that he can roll with the backpack himself, Damian Maia. And then Tyron Woodley, like I said before, he was a former welterweight world champion, defending his title 4 times. Twice against Stephen Wonderboy, then Damian Maia, and lastly Darren Till. In his 5th defense, he stepped in there with Kamaru Usman, and Kamaru just put on a clinic. It was more so of a wrestling, a wrestling type bout. He just broke him down, man. It wasn't no serious amount of damage. Like, I believe Gilbert Burns inflicted more damage than Kamaru Usman. But we all saw what happened when Kamaru Usman went in there and fought Gilbert Burns. He stopped him in the 3rd round. So there you go. Switching subjects now. There's so much talk that's going around with different talking points about the fight last night. Now the topic of discussion comes up about a potential fight that Devin Haney should have next. But let's talk about this fight with Jorge Linares and Devin Haney. Like I said the other night when the fight was over with, I felt that Devin Haney boxed beautifully throughout this fight until he started, stay in the pocket too long. Now, when it comes down to the success that Devin Haney was having against Linares, who admitted that he was tight, and also, in my opinion, an assessment of Jorge Linares, he was headhunting too much. I believe he truly wanted to knock Devin out, because if he indeed would have stopped Devin, it would have catapulted his career to a whole nother payday. Seriously. He would have been the one stepping in there with Teofimo Lopez. He would have got the $1 million payday and shit like that. But when it comes down to it, Devin Haney truly and totally outboxed Jorge Linares up to that point. I can't sit up here and say Devin Haney doesn't have a chin. A lot of people are saying, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, he doesn't have a chin, he's a hugger. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have a chin, he's a hugger. Aren't you allowed as a boxer It's up to the referee to split y'all up, right? And Devin Haney was hurt bad when he was hit. But who's to say he's wrong for surviving? I mean, damn, he was putting in work the whole fight. It's not going to look good. People are going to criticize the fuck out of him. But who's to say that wasn't a smart move? Just like when he was hurt in the 10th and Jorge Linares was up there acting like he was the matador. Devin Haney kept walking straight back to his corner and sat down. What if he would have turned around and tried to talk while he was hurt and wasted that time for recovery? All that shit plays a significant role when you're the champion. We can't negate the fact that he was putting on a clinic. He was making Jorge Linares miss. He was landing some beautiful shots. I just think a lot of those shots may have been arm punches. Even though he was landing, I just never felt my visual never gave me like the power aspect of those shots landing. Like when Linares was throwing his punches or executing his punch combinations, he put some mustard on them. But even though, he kept going, for the head of Devin Haney, and Haney was gone. He was a magician in that. He was gone. He was out of there. Couldn't be seen, Casper. But Jorge Linares continued to headhunt Devin Haney. I thought he fought a damn good fight. Up to the point where he might have, got bored with it a little bit. And he was up there saying, I'm landing shot after shot so easy. Shit, I don't have a problem standing in the pocket. And also, what was talked about extensively on everything boxing and sports, right, was the fact that, who said that? Was it Money that said that? It might have been Money Brown. That Devin Haney may have been trying to appease the crowd and appease the fans by standing in the pocket and banging a little bit. If banging is not your repertoire, like if it doesn't fit your boxing repertoire, why do it? Why all of a sudden say, you know what, I'm going to stand in the pocket more than I need to? He was in the pocket damn near the whole fight. Like he stood in there and took some shots from Linares and he kept on throwing. I tell you all the time, fatigue will bring a knockout to your doorstep. And even with all the movement, the defensive elusiveness from Devin Haney, yeah, he might have gassed a little bit to the point where he wasn't as stationary. Because you look at that punch combination Jorge Linares landed, you take away the foot movement, now you're working from the waist up. You're still stationary. If Linares would go to the body, the head would have came a little bit quicker. But in that moment, Devin Haney stayed stationary and he was moving at the waist, like slipping punches like he know how to do. But Jorge Linares kept his punches coming and he was able to land that right hand and he really hurt him. So the next two rounds, Haney had to basically ensure that he gathered his equilibrium back, allow his legs to come back because he was hurt. And you have to salute Jorge Linares too for being in damn good shape. But I mean, you understand that you gave Devin Haney a compliment and say, okay, he's fast. So if he's fast, Jorge Linares, why didn't you go to the body more, bro? If you couldn't hit his head, you should have went to the body. Devin Haney knew your head was there all day because you wanted to stay close to try to hurt him. Because you felt like he didn't have enough power to hurt you, so you were going to be there. But the one who took advantage of it was Haney. He was popping the jab. Man, he was having a field day with Linares. It was target practice out that motherfucker. It was probably some people after the fourth round, they probably was out there eating hot dogs, chili dogs and shit. Yes, can I get a number 2? Double fries. Can you give me some nachos? How's the fight going? Okay, same shit. Okay. You give me an icy pop. People was looking at that beatdown. It was just too easy, bro. And then after Haney would land, Jorge Linares tried to come back and headhunt. He wanted to damn get that payback. You just can't do that, man. You know, you got to be smart about it, Linares. You have all those professional fights under your belt. You take on a young hitter that's 22, and you're gonna try your damnedest to hit him in the head at your age. Like, come on, man. Come on, bro. Your corner didn't tell you to stop headhunting. Let me see what. It's crazy. Overall, though, I enjoyed the fight, just like I enjoyed Soto and Takayama. I enjoyed that fight, just like I enjoyed Brandon Figueroa, Luis Neri, Stephen Fulton, Angelo Leo. Shit was on point. Those are more fights we need. You know, Oscar Valdez and Miguel Burchelt. Teofimo Fasil Lomachenko. Lopez Nakatani. Gervonta Davis, Leo Santa Cruz. I mean, the list can go on and on, man. Like, y'all can't sit up here and act like Devin Haney went out like Leo Santa Cruz. That just you can't sit up here and say he went out like Richard Comey when he was in there with T.O. It wasn't no Baranchik Cepeda. It wasn't no Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez. It wasn't a Maurice Hooker, Jose Ramirez. It wasn't a Regis Prograis, Ivan Redcatch. It wasn't every one of Terrence Crawford's fights at welterweight. I'm just running through the roster now. It wasn't Jason Rosario, Jamel Charlo. It wasn't Jason Rosario, J-Rock, Julian Williams. It wasn't Jamel Charlo, Erickson Lubin. Seriously. I'm just being honest. It wasn't that type of deal. It was not a Canelo Alvarez, Billy Joe Saunders, bro. It wasn't Avni Yildirim versus Canelo Alvarez. It wasn't Nonito Donaire stopping Nordine O'Bali. He simply got caught. He simply got caught. That's all I can say. Hold on for a second. I got to check out and see what this is in the back. Sounds like gunfire, still a firecrackers. Hold on for a minute. Okay, so that's my take on it, because when it comes down to what people want to see next, they're gonna pretty much talk about the Teofimo Lopez fight. I mean, he has a fight with George Kambosos, which I don't think it's gonna be a walk in the park. Kambosos is strong, but I do believe Teofimo Lopez is quicker. And It's going to come down to potentially power, I believe. Teofimo Lopez is not a power puncher, one hit a quitter rather, but he does have power. He can break his opponent down. He has improved tremendously over time, especially by fighting the top 10 fighters on his resume from Nakatani, Richard Comey, and Vasyl Lomachenko. So him heading to this fight with George Kambosos, it's going to be a solid fight. He gets through George Kambosos, well, we'll see what happens. A lot of people are laying claim that, he's not ready for Teofimo Lopez. You know what I'm saying? He's a long ways off from being in there with Teofimo Lopez. Like I said, I got to keep the shit as close to the integrity as possible. The boxing clinic that he put on with Jorge Linares, yes, Vasyl Lomachenko was able to stop him. Okay, I understand that. But you have to look at both sides, right? Linares was able to drop Vasyl Lomachenko, but he wasn't able to drop Devin Haney. Yes, Vasyl stopped Linares, but Devin Haney won by clear, concise, unanimous decision. So you have to consider that. Now, when someone says he's not ready, like you put a time stamp on how when he would be ready, it's just bewildering because he's already a champion no matter how he received the belt. But for him to go in there and fight Jorge Linares the way he did and pretty much dominate up to the point that he got caught, it's just the error of judgment on his part. To say he's not ready for Teofimo Lopez when it comes to boxing is just preposterous. That would be a good fight right now from what I've seen yesterday. I'm still going for Teofimo Lopez. That's just my guy. I mean, I'm going for Teofimo Lopez. But for Devin Haney to put on a performance the way he did yesterday, there's no way in hell that any logical individual that say they follow the sport of boxing would say that he's not ready to fight the other champion in the division. He's not ready to fight the partner, the unified champion, after that boxing clinic he put on the first half of the fight. Like I said before, he shouldn't have been up there trying to appease the fans. You're never going to appease the fans. The fact that he was caught and was holding, the fans was booing him. They didn't give a fuck about who his name was. I really tried to explain this over and over again. They really don't care what your name is. They really don't care about your social media. You have to have that dynamic. If you want to compare yourself to Floyd was a whole different individual. I wouldn't recommend boxers place themselves in a silhouette of Floyd Mayweather. It's just too much. It's just too freaking much. Floyd made some of those fights look extremely easy when people thought he was going to get his ass whooped. But to hear fans booing you all because of 2 rounds, like if he would have went down, let's just say Haney went down like Ryan Garcia. Just to say he went down, he stood up, and he recovered. The reason why they was booing because Haney was holding on. The reason why they didn't boo Ryan Garcia because first of all, he's a Mexican fighter, first of all, and they love for a Mexican fighter to lay down and get dropped and all that. I'm just saying they love to see the warfare go down like that. He got up and he went and stopped Luke Campbell. They gave Ryan Garcia the benefit of the doubt that he went and closed out the fight and stopped Luke Campbell. Sir Ken in the building. What's good? World Combat Sports. Salute to the wrenches and salute to the chat. Smash the like button. Appreciate you there, Sir Ken, always. Appreciate the support. Everybody that's in the live chat, appreciate you pulling up. Ryan Garcia was given credit for stopping Luke Campbell. The reason why they gave him credit because Vasyl Lomachenko didn't stop Luke Campbell. Ryan Garcia did. But you had the climactic factor in there where Luke Campbell was able to drop Ryan Garcia. Could you imagine Haney getting dropped like Garcia? They would have been on his neck. They would have been drilling Bill Haney all day long. There is a distinct bias in boxing, whether you want to recognize it or not. I would agree. I don't agree with a lot of shit, that goes on in boxing. But I will agree with what Haney said after during the post-fight interview. He said there's been other fighters that get dropped and get up and praise for that shit. But yet he get hit and he doesn't go down. And the crowd is born. Well, hey, now you understand who you're dealing with. Just like Deontay Wilder, all the ridicule and criticism he faces when he's trying his best to goddamn, go ahead and compete at the highest level and give the fans what they want. They still ain't satisfied. So when Devin said that shit, I said, okay, cool. I get it. He is right. Because they praised the Cepeda and Baranchik. They praised the hell out of it. They praised the hell out that shit. Back and forth, knockdown after knockdown, and you don't hear nobody else talk about it. You don't hear people talk and say nothing about that. It's a gray line. Seriously. What they call it, the protection for the complexion. I'm just saying, if you have a black fighter that's at the top of the food chain, and just say Gervonta Davis get hurt. Let's just say he would have got hurt in there against Leo Santa Cruz. Even in the process of him being knocked out, people still say Gervonta Davis is getting touched up. Even with him going and knocking out and staying on the hunt against Yorkis Gamboa, they said Gervonta went into the 12th round with an old man. But not the fact that he had multiple knockdowns in that fight. And he stayed on the hunt until he got the knockdown with the uppercut, with the left hand. It was the fact that, we want to talk about what happened to Gervonta early in the fight. So that, in that perspective, I agree with Haney saying that shit. But when it comes down to it, it was a little bit of complacency from a superb performance. He went in there and boxed the sweet signs like it was cool. I like seeing a boxer go in there and put that work in, like Stephen Fulton. The work that he was putting in with Angelo Leo, ooh, that shit was wicked. I was like, God damn. I even like to see Joshua Greer fight on the inside. Shout out to Don't Blink. But whoever believes Haney isn't ready to step in the ring with T.O., I don't know what to tell you. Like, what else in boxing are you looking for in a fight? Like, when you see a boxer go in there and box, and not only box, but hit and not get hit. I know a lot of black fighters have that mentality, hit and not get hit. You rarely find the James Kirklands that want to go in there and get knocked the fuck out and brawl the way he did, especially against Alfredo Angulo. I ain't gonna lie. I watched that fight several times. I enjoyed the hell out that fight. But brothers just don't go in there and fight that type of fight all the time. You don't fight the Stephen Fulton fight with Angelo Leo and don't get touched. Similar methods to fighting with Stephen Fulton and Devin Haney. Similar, but not exact. Because I felt like Stephen Fulton, in my opinion, did it better. Like Cool Boy Steph, that's not even the way he usually boxes. But the inside fight game that he displayed against Angelo Leo, that shit was pretty to watch. But then you look at what Haney was able to delegate against Jorge Linares, you say, damn, that shit's on point. Every time Jorge wanted to counter after Haney was landing that freaking jab up top to the body, when he let his hands go, he was just touching up Linares anytime he felt like it. But then I was saying to myself, you might not want to stay in the pocket with Linares because I don't see him slowing down from those punches that you landed. You might not want to stay close like that. You know how they put that danger close up there? I felt that he was danger close. I just felt like Linares was just waiting for his opportunity. That's why he stayed targeting the head area. And he felt that he was going to sooner or later land that punch. And he made it happen in the 10th round. Pete Davenport in the building. Peace, my big brother world. I feel like Linares is a tougher opponent than Luke Campbell and Kambosos. With his boxing experience, 40 plus professional fights, when you use that word tougher, I don't know. Kambosos, he's tough too. At one point in time with Luke Campbell, when he got up from the knockdown with Fasil, I was saying Luke Campbell tough. All right, but then he came in at Ryan Garcia and just let him walk him down after he hurt him. I was like, that's some bullshit right there. Like, what are you doing, bro? You want to win, or are you here just to get a check? So I understand the underscore the tougher. I don't know if at this point in his career, he's a multi-division champion. Linares, I mean, he has his ups and downs, man. But Kambosos is not a walkover, man. Like, he's a tough Aussie. I know people don't give them credit, but Kambosos, if you watch his most notable fights, he's legit, man. You know what I'm saying? He's the mandatory. Remember that. He's the mandatory. And people are making it out that he's more than just a mandatory, which is great because that's going to sell the fight. That's definitely going to sell the fight. It has sold the fight. And they have more time to promote it. You know, the fight was moved from June 5th to June 19th, so they have enough time to promote it even more. And it's going to be a damn good fight. But always remember, there is a difference, man. Like, you know it for sure. You know this, man. You know it's a difference when it comes down to fighters getting dropped. Take, for instance, Joshua Greer Jr., one of the fighters I really rock with. Like, he stepped in there with Mike Plania, and Plania dropped him twice. But he was coming on at the back end of the fight. He never gave no excuses at the end or nothing. And people act like, they want to criticize him and say, he's overhyped and all that. But the man never gave excuses. Not one time when he had a performance, even when he got a draw, his last fight, he didn't make no motherfucking excuses. He go in there and fight. He get it in. And then, people want to say what they want to say on social media. That's how it is in boxing, unless you're that superstar. Unless you have did so much that people are not going to really fuck with you. See, like Sergey Derevyanchenko. Like, if you see Sergey Derevyanchenko in person, people will give him love for the performance that he put in against Jermell Charlo. But they're not going to really talk about the two opportunities he had as the IBF mandatory, and he couldn't get it done. I'm not saying, check this out, I'm not saying he didn't get it done. I'm just saying he didn't get it done. They didn't give him the nod. So he go over there and take the punishment he did against Jermell Charlo. They're gonna credit him. They're gonna say, "Oh man, you went the distance with Jermell Charlo. Good job." But when they see Jermell Charlo, they're gonna say, "Man, we appreciate that that work you put in with Sergey Derevyanchenko. You know why they're not going to say it? Because he lost twice already when he was trying to go for that IBF. They gifted him a change up and say, we're going to put you in the WBC rankings, just like they did Nonito Donaire. Donaire took advantage of that shit. I knew he was going to beat Nordine Bali. Seeing his performance with Rashid Warren, I just always felt, I said, nah, it's only a matter of time. He can say he was then world champion, but I said, when they put Donaire over there, I said, the performance he just had against Inoue, I say, man, shit, he going to take that belt. He's going to take that WBC championship. And now we'll probably see a rematch against Donaire and Inoue for unification, if that's the case. And then, of course, you got Rigondeaux in the hunt. I think Rigondeaux is supposed to be fighting John Casimiro. That's going to be pretty crazy. King Mitch in the building. Salute to you, my brother. What's good? Come back with us. Shouts to the chat. Appreciate you. He said, I got Jake Paul versus Woodley. It won't look like Askren, Nate Robinson, though. So tell me what you talking about, though. What it's gonna look like if you got Jake Paul? What it's gonna go the distance or what? Ken said World Combat wasn't there talks of Ryan Garcia facing Linares before he ended up with the Luke Campbell fight. There were talks, man. There was talks with Ryan Garcia facing a lot of people. Could you imagine? Seriously, could you imagine Ryan Garcia stepping in there with Jorge Linares? I think Linares would have beat what they say. I think he would have washed Ryan Garcia. Seriously, because we saw how Luke Campbell made adjustments to Ryan Garcia's left hand. You can't live or die by that left hook, man. You got to have multiple arsenals. Do you think if Haney would have faced Ryan Garcia last night, he wouldn't have been able to slip under that left like he was doing Linares? He was Phantom of the Opera when that left hand came across. Haney was gone. So you think he's not going to be able to look? You're talking about Luke Campbell, who is a much slower fighter than Haney. You think he won't be able to slip Ryan Garcia's left just as Luke Campbell did? Yes, he would. Absolutely. He would have had no problem. If Ryan Garcia would have man up and faced Haney last night, what Shakur Stevenson say? It would have been a massacre. It would have been a motherfucking massacre, y'all. It would have been a massacre. That's why he didn't take that fight. Ryan Garcia, man, I can't even put him in the equation of serious. I heard he's supposed to be stepping in the ring, with whoever. But, man, that dude has some other shit going on. He went from this heartthrob, supposedly, this heartthrob sensation, having all these women show up to the fights, to being Mr. Capione. Quick. He went from being Mr. Capione. Ryan Garcia was talking about freaking facing Gervonta Davis. Then he wanted to face Manny Pacquiao. He was supposed to at one point in time face Javier Fortuna. And then he turned around and say he goes up there and uses Mike Tyson. And thank God Mike Tyson is on psychedelics. Because I think he would have goddamn punched Ryan Garcia in the mouth if he knew he was using them. But he sits up there and calls out Gervonta Davis. Gervonta's on the phone. They talking shit back and forth. And Mike is up there eating that shit up like, damn. He said, if you don't fight him, your legacy will be forever tainted. Damn, Gervonta, say something, Gervonta. Don't let him talk to you like that, Gervonta. Punch him through. Bro, come on now. You capped so hard, and you didn't even live up to any of it. We don't even know what's going on. He wants to say mental illness and all. I ain't talking about none of that shit, man. I just know if he would have stepped in there with Haney yesterday, it would have been a massacre. It would have been an all-out massacre. Haney would have definitely walked up out of that ring, and people would say, God damn, he does have power. Because he would have massacred Ryan Garcia. But back to the topic at hand. Supposedly, Haney is not, they're free agents and they're not with the zone anymore. So it very much makes it interesting when it comes to them and T.O. P said exactly what I meant by tougher opponent, where Linares would not be a lot, Linares would be a lot fight for T.O. and Ryan. That's why Ryan avoided the fight. Absolutely. I know what you were saying. Yes. I was just saying, I was just giving my feedback. Linares would have been tough for Ryan Garcia. Absolutely. I'm not sure about Teofimo Lopez, though, because I'm not sure about that, man. I think T.O. would have stopped Jorge Linares. Real talk there, Pete. I seriously think Teofimo Lopez would have stopped Jorge Linares. T.O. would have not had to land the amount of punches that Devin Haney landed on Linares to stop him. Seriously. Because T.O., in my opinion, his body shots would have been heavier and his punches up top, period, if he would have landed on the chin. You know what I'm saying? Because we all know Linares stopped him to the body. I mean, not Linares, Lomachenko. So if you look at that, you think Teofimo Lopez with that power, he wouldn't have been over there. He wouldn't have been in there working that area. Yes, he would have. I wanted Jake Paul to step in. Shit. Oh my God. You look, Mitch, you're trying to raise this dude up to a level of overnight superstardom. You're trying to have Jake Paul be a replacement for Jean Pascal, who popped positive for like 3 pads, Jarrell Miller all over again, right? You want him to go in there and face Badu Jack for the title? Oh my God. You want this man now to say, you know what? I'm worth much more. I stepped in there and I gave it my all against a former world champion in Badu Jack. And I believe I am that guy. I am worth 4 or 5 million right now. I don't have near the experience. I'm only 3-0. And I stepped in there with Badu Jack. No, Mitch, we can't do that. We can't provide him that championship platform right now. No, hell no. Win or lose, he could get major respect from the hell, man. Now I understand Mitch is hyping up the Paul brothers. For you to even recommend such for a guy who have not earned it or paid his dues. Wow. But I have to take in consideration this Memorial Day. You might have had a little bit to drink. You might be feeling right. You know what I'm saying? I have to take all that into consideration today. You might have ate well tonight. Your stomach, you might be full of that hen dog. Something for you to come in here with a fighter that's 3-0, no freaking amateur credentials. You want him to step in there as a replacement for Jean Pascal and get his ass beat the fuck down. There's no way that he's going in there and defeating Badu Jack. Did you see the last opponent that Badu Jack was facing? And Triller? Shit, that guy would have gave Jake Paul problems. Real talk. Who you know that beat depression in 3 weeks? J.A. say, who you know beat depression? So depression is you beat depression, huh? Shit. Last time I checked, depression come and go as it feel like. So you might wake up one day, you feel good, and then but it's crazy though that Ryan Garcia puts out a video. He puts out a video around the same time that I think Mario Barrios and Gervonta Davis was announced. I'm just saying, though. Like, at the time that Mario Barrios and Gervonta Davis fight was announced, Ryan Garcia all of a sudden puts out a training video. Seems a little bit fishy. You know what I'm saying? Something ain't right with that. I see Jake Paul hurting Woodley with a check left hook as Woodley loads up on the big right hand. I got Woodley gassing out quickly. Woodley would probably be gassed out by 2 or 3, man. Even though he's used to 5-minute rounds, I think really Jake Paul is going to press the pace. And, he's going to press the pace because he's dealing with a 39-year-old Woodley. And he's going to try to gas him out, but keep safe distance. Because I truly believe Woodley still has enough power to crack Jake Paul. But we really don't know what type of chin Jake has yet. Seriously. Do we really truly know if Jake Paul has a legitimate chin? We're not going to know that until he faces higher competition, more validated competition, not older guys is out there way out and into retirement or in retirement. We don't know that shit. So Jake might have a respectable chin. We just don't know because we need someone to touch him on it. You know what I'm saying? We need somebody to crack him and see what happens. That's all. Badu would beat the shit out of Jake. For real. I mean, listen. The weird part about your statement is that people go see that shit. But there's no way it can happen right now because he's just signed on to fight Tyron Woodley. But if he stepped in to bring more viewership to Floyd Mayweather's fight card this weekend, I'm inclined to say people will tune in for that shit. Knowing that Badu Jack is about to beat the brakes off this guy. They would tune in because it's Jake Paul, and they truly believe at 24 years old, once again, he would go in there and have a chance against an older fighter. But the one thing about it, Badu Jack is still in the game. He's still in the game. He'll box circles around that dude. But it's a good hypothetical. It's solid. I get it. Real talk. I get it. It's not too far-fetched if he didn't have a fight coming up and he signed with Showtime too. I'm gonna tell you what's trying to happen. Like I said before, Floyd Mayweather's trying to fight both of the Paul brothers, man. I'm telling you. Floyd Mayweather has some shit popping. He goes in here and beat Logan Paul, man. And being that the fact that Jake Paul signed with Showtime, Floyd Mayweather is going to try to hit y'all in the head again with $100 PPV. They're going to hype this shit that happened with Gotcha Hat. They're going to hype the fuck out of that shit. They're going to have y'all think, oh man, Floyd actually sending goons over there the freaking get at Jake Paul. This is real live beef. Let's pay to see this. People are going to do it. I seriously think Floyd want to fight both Paul brothers so he can say, you know what? Man, my win streak with these European fighters is just so great. It's superb. It's impeccable. I dispersed Conor McGregor. I dispersed Logan Paul. And I just dispersed Jake Paul and made millions. Now what? If Floyd Mayweather does that shit, man, damn, I don't know what to freaking say, man. Real talk. If he defeat both of these young cats who can actually fight, they can't box. I don't care what nobody say. Don't come telling me just because they load up on the right hand all the time and Logan Paul want to go in there and fight Rob Gronkowski's brothers. He's supposed to be a fighter. I mean, he's supposed to be a boxer. No, that's not the case. But if Floyd is able to pull off this too, this 2-for-1, because all about how it goes with Logan Paul. I'm telling you, that got your hat scene. All of them, I killed this motherfucker. They're going to set that shit up, man. It's going to be another exhibition bout. And Floyd going to take it. He's going to take it, and he's going to make an unbelievable amount of money. That shit is going to be full live gate with PPV. If it plays out that way, if Floyd is able to do it. If that happened, I'm curious to see if Floyd will retire after that. Because he would have came back, and his last 3 opponents would have been pretty much lower than 4 professional fights. Conor McGregor had 0, hasn't fought boxing again. Jake Paul has 3 right now, and Logan Paul is 0-1. Very interesting. I'm moving on now. I want to get y'all input, people. I'm hearing rumor mill about Anthony Joshua. So Anthony Joshua has the WBO mandatory coming up with Alexander Usyk, right? So I want to get your input on hearing possibly that Anthony Joshua may drop the WBO title. Like, how does that sit with y'all? Like, why isn't Anthony Joshua motivated? Like, when I was way back when telling people about this very moment about Anthony Joshua, they refused. And he was younger then. They refused to believe it. But what do y'all have to say about if he doesn't step in the ring with Alexander Usyk, his WBO Mandy? If he drops the title, didn't I tell y'all months ago that Anthony Joshua, if he has any indication that he might potentially face Deontay Wilder, he's gonna start fragmenting the belts? I'm not saying that's the reason why he's not facing Alexander Usyk. I'm just saying, why isn't he facing Alexander Usyk if that's the case? He can still do it, but I'm just not getting that vibe. Like, people not really talking about. Eddie Hearns, he say what he want to say. It's all good. It's all good. We already know what Eddie Hearns say here and there. Look, let me read you this article about Eddie Hearns on Boxing Scene. It say, Hearn, we'll either make a deal for Joshua Usyk or AJ will vacate. Won't go the purse bid. I want y'all input on this, because I've had so many groups that I was kicked out way back when I was talking about this shit. They didn't believe me. Now this shit is coming to fruition. You put shit out there. I'm gonna tell you, they want Denzel Washington or Samuel Jackson to say some shit. Oh, you heard what they said? They say Joshua may vacate the belt instead of fighting some tough opposition when it comes down to it. If it's not something that's pre-planned and he can't get over. But somebody else has to say it, not me. Anthony Joshua still doesn't want to give up his WBO heavyweight title. Joshua's promoter doesn't think the British superstar would even consider vacate one of his 4 championships unless negotiations for his mandated matchup with Alexander Usyk takes a sudden turn for the worse. Why would you look? First of all, why would you even present it taking a turn for the worse? Because there's ways around it. We watched Teofimo Lopez negotiate more for Vasyl Lomachenko, and also we seen him go to purse bid for George Kambosos. Let's cook. Thus far, talks between Eddie Hearns, whose company promote Joshua and co-promoted Usyk's last 3 fights, and Alex Krasjuk, Usyk's other promotional representative, have advanced to the point is confident that they'll come to an agreement soon. And quote, I feel like as long as the deal goes smoothly and no one tries to be clever, then I think the fight is quite automatic, Hearn told a group of reporters Saturday night following Devin Haney's victory over Jorge Linares at Mandalay Bay Michelob Ultra Arena. And the way that the conversation has been going with Alex, who has worked with the last 3 Usyk's fight anyway, have been sensible. So as long as everyone's sensible that the fight And I think it's a very good fight. It's not the fight Fury. It's not the Fury fight, which is the one we wanted, but it's still a good fight. Of course, it's the one you wanted. Assuming they make a deal, Hearn expect to schedule the bout between England's Joshua 24-1, 22 knockouts, and Ukraine's Usyk 18-0, 13 knockouts for either late in August or early September, somewhere in the United Kingdom. Once the Joshua Tyson Fury fight fell apart 2 weeks ago, the WBO gave representatives for Joshua and Usyk 10 days from May 22nd to reach an agreement. Here we go with these reaching agreements. Man, when it comes to the UK, like I remember when they severed negotiations with Deontay Wilder back in the day. The WBA came out there and put this shit up to my, oh, he has to agree to this and that, else he'll be stripped if he don't sign to fight Alexander Povetkin. The shit came and went. No reprimand, no nothing. No stripping of the title. Now, all the way up to this point, they're coming up. Well, they gave him 10 days from May 22nd to reach an agreement. Let's see how that works out. All right. They say, I do think where we are with the negotiations, Hearn said, we would probably say to the WBO, if there's no deal by Monday or Tuesday, could we have another week? What did I just tell y'all before I even read the article? Man, you can't take these timelines over there serious. Could we have another week, please? Like if both teams say that, then they'll give you more time, Joshua would give up the WBO belt. However, if the two sides can't come to an agreement and the WBO orders a purse bid, according to the WBO rules, an 80-20 purse split would favor Joshua if this fight with Usyk went to purse bid. The 31-year-old Joshua also owns the IBF, IBO, and WBO titles and wants to keep each of his 4 belts as he pursues becoming boxing's fully unified heavyweight champion. We'll either make a deal or we'll vacate, Hearn said. I keep hearing this vacate. Okay, they'll make a deal or vacate. Check this out. I think when it comes to them over there, right, they'll vacate with somebody that they know they can return. They already put it out there. They said we can always go back and fight Usyk later because they pretty much feel that they can put the money out there like they did Charles Martin and they can get that belt back. If by chance they're still believing that Joshua can face Fury for the undisputed titles, they believe that they may potentially win. They just putting scenarios out there. Joshua going to beat Fury. He can go back over there and collect the last belt and he can become 3-time unified or whatever, or undisputed for the first time. They have all these far-fetched scenarios, man. But the one that doesn't work is when they don't have the control of the board. Just like they didn't have control of the board when they came over here to NYC. They didn't have control of the motherfucking board. Jarrell Miller fell out. They inserted damn Andy Ruiz. He got his ass beat. He lost his title. So in between time, they sent Andy Ruiz a truckload full of damn freshly made Snicker bars. They said, we just heard, nougat caramel. This is what you wanted, Andy. When you get done eating that whole crate, come give us a call, buddy. We got some business to take care of. We got to fight for those titles again. It's a rematch clause. But in between time, we want to just, talk. We want to give you the plan so you can be fully aware that you're going to come in Saudi Arabia, deconditioned, out of shape, and we're going to blame it on you just having fun with the money you made the first fight. You losing focus and all that shit. You're going to come in here looking like you and the old Chris Arreola linked up and y'all went to Taco Tuesdays when it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Seriously, I can't get enough of this shit, man. But when the time come, had to do what we had to do. So I'm annoyed with the WBO. I'm just annoyed that it seemed that basically AJ is told who he's got to fight every single time. You're right. Wow, I can't believe what I'm reading right here. When I was saying this shit years ago about AJ being a manufactured fighter, people looked at it like, no, you just hating on AJ. And now they're saying it right here. I'm just annoyed that it seems that basically AJ is told who he's going to fight every single time. But that's the problem of having 3 or 4 belts. That's just how it is. He's freaking told who he's going to fight. The undefeated Usyk has been the mandatory challenger for the WBO title since June 2019. If Joshua relinquished the WBO belt, the number 1 ranked Usyk will be ordered to battle another Brit. Another Brit, y'all. It's another Brit. Second ranked Joe Joyce, 12-0, 11 knockouts for his unclaimed heavyweight championship. That's just a little topic for y'all, man. I know Masvidal is a real fighter, but he got some props for stepping in late with Usman the first fight. If Jake Paul stepped in late for Jack, he'd get the same love. No, not at all. Because Jake Paul does not have the resume of Jorge Masvidal, first of all. And the respect that Masvidal is getting for stepping in late was just one of those, his street credibility coming over to mixed martial arts and so forth. That's it. You know, they really like Masvidal over there. That's why he got the love. Jake Paul love will be different. It's YouTube shit. It's a funky type of damn energy and vibe that's going on with these Paul brothers that they're getting all this love. I'm talking about in the sport of boxing. I don't give a fuck who love them. But in the sport of boxing, where people are sacrificing their lives, they're going through all these amateur fights. You know what I'm saying? They're winning all these national titles, these golden gloves, and all this other stuff, only to come over to boxing and see the Paul brothers get all this money. People would definitely call him a duck, and it would be warranted. Depends who he fights instead. I'd be okay with AJ fighting Herkovic or Joyce, I guess. Well, Herkovic is definitely not going to get the Joshua fight right now. Joe Joyce, yeah. But you want to see Herkovic, the robot? You want to see Herkovic, the robot, face AJ? You think that's going to be competitive? I don't know, man. I truly don't know. I think Joe Joyce fighting Herkovic, we might see the same outcome we saw when Joe Joyce was fighting Daniel Dubois. Like, Herkovic is there to be hit. I mean, it might just be me. I mean, we'll see. Damn sure don't want to see AJ versus Rules 3 or AJ versus White. I watch AJ versus White. Absolutely. I watch AJ versus White. Because, White has already been stopped by AJ before AJ had the title. So therefore, White get his opportunity to step in there and fight for the titles. I love seeing White walk into a situation of destruction. Why not? Put him in there with AJ. Ruiz, after seeing him get dropped by Chris Arreola, I'm not trying to see him go in there and get dropped again by AJ. No. I know that's kind of contradicting, being that White was, dropped by Alexander Povetkin, but White is a glutton for punishment. And plus, I think, I don't know, man. Just the press conference itself will be interesting because, Joshua has a leg up on defeating Dillian White, knocked him out in the 7th round before. So I'm looking at it like, it's a little bit of history between these two. And right now, Dillian White has been talking a lot of shit. So that'll take AJ off his comfort zone just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? When you got that disrespectful Dillian White in there talking the shit like you do. AJ a coward. Oh, AJ a coward. Oh, you say the same shit. Whatever Dillian White be saying. It sounds like to me they putting off Usyk until they find out that, see? There we go. Can't hit it on the head. I only have to finish the narrative. I don't have to finish it. Listen what he said. It sounds like to me they putting off Usyk until they find out the outcome of Wilder Fury. See, smart. That seems that way to me. It seems like procrastination at its finest. At its finest, I'm telling you, they really are drooling. We're not going anywhere. We're gonna wait this out. We're gonna wait the storm. We're gonna put out to the media that we're gonna drop this WBO title, and we're gonna just let it linger around. And by the time we drop the title, and then Usyk, Joe Joyce, we're gonna tell them to schedule that fight in December, somewhere far away, because Deontay and Tyson Fury is fighting in July. So we have to give or take fight camp and so forth. We have to make it work out to our benefit. I agree with what Ken just said. They're after their bloody tricks again. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're after their bloody tricks again, right? We really truly believe that we deserve this undisputed. We had it in our grasp. It was right there in our palms. And that bloody Deontay Wilder just snatched it. He better not ever think about coming over here across the pond before. We have something for him. He took away a dynasty. We could have had heavyweight history right here in the UK. Now, I'm telling you, they pissed. Deontay spoiled it. Perfect point made there, Ken. Right now, I pick AJ to beat Usyk. Can't see why AJ and Hearns are hesitant. Usyk has a bigger name than the other options. Look, Eddie Hearns, when it comes to Eddie Hearns, Joshua, they're very calculated in how they move. And, Usyk isn't that old. You're talking about someone who's a former cruiserweight unified champion. So, though he looked like crap a little bit, facing Witherspoon when he came and, for his debut in the heavyweight division, and then winning there against Derek Chisora, which, a lot of people felt he lost that fight. When it comes to Anthony Joshua, he may have problems with the style of Usyk. Like you said, Mitch, he may have problems with that. Joshua's this fighter that just keep on slugging around. He just was pretty much identified. You know what I'm saying? He was identified when Andy Ruiz stepped in there and did what he did. He was identified. That's the word I'm gonna use. I committed to using the word identified because too many people have abused the word exposed. Too many exposed. So-and-so is exposed. Like, what do you mean exactly? So I get what you're saying, man. Let's see if they're going to be able to get that fight. What they decide with AJ. He needs to fight Usyk. That's a mandatory. AJ was in a hurry to face Alexander Povetkin as a mandatory. Goddamn it. Sure. Where do I sign there, Addy? Just tell me, where do I sign the dotted line? Because I'm ready to face Alexander Povetkin. And by the way, Eddie, how old is Alexander? Is he about 53 right now in boxing years? He is. Okay, I'm ready to sign the contract right now. I mean, he was all in a hurry to fight Alexander Povetkin. Him and Luis Ortiz the same age. No, just a little bit of years off. Okay. I mean, I'm like, damn. I've just never been a fan. I think DAZN and some UK people, they know who I am from way back when, man. I don't know if y'all told you, but they actually try to get me to write for them. Real talk. I still had the emails when I was really focused on writing. I wasn't doing lives. They actually tried to scoop me up, man. They wanted me to write on UK fighters. That's real talk. No cap. No cap. I can tell you 3 to 4 names. I'm not going to do it. But they tried to get me to do media with them when I was really focused on writing articles and shit. I even write. Look, I wrote 3 articles for them in 2 days on their 3 fighters over there, which I'm not going to give them any shine, right? I really didn't even know the fighters, but I did my research and stuff, and I wrote 3 articles all in 2 days, right? And they wanted me to say, okay, we want to hire you to do this work. This is way back in 2018, y'all. They say your whole point is to provide spotlight on UK fighters. And I said, I can't do that. Like, if you want me to stop talking about US fighters, that's not going to happen. I don't care how much you're trying to charge, give me. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, man. I can't do it. I can't do it. I had to really block them motherfuckers. They was calling me and shit, hit me on it. I had to block them, man. Real talk. They was like, damn, this nigga, he up here writing articles and talking on boxing with 2 people tuned in. Yeah, I said I'm a multitasker. But they definitely was trying to give me the bag. And I said, no, can't do it. Because who am I to be sitting over here trying to work on eggshells, not talking about US fighters. And at the time I was still supporting Deontay Wilder heavy. They wanted me to stop supporting Deontay Wilder like that and speaking on a regular. It was a whole lot of shit behind the scenes, man. Real talk. I talked to that motherfucker several times. He was calling me, on video chat, trying to convince me. And then I found out he was interviewing some of the fighters I know and shit, trying his best. See, I didn't say you totally didn't have to interview the fighters, but we won't. I said, nah, fuck that. Hell no. Hell no. They definitely tried, though. But anyway, let's not forget, to give a shout out to Gary Antoine Russell, man. He went in there and just murdered Santiago. The same Santiago that gave Adrian Broner a pretty good go. Antoine Russell is just a different type of dude. Seriously. I talked to him when I had the opportunity. I seen him fight on a couple occasions. He's a different type of dude. I remember having a debate with somebody, and they was trying to say Elvis Rodriguez would fuck up Antoine. And I was like, I don't think so, bro, because people sleeping on him because they don't know him. They don't know Gary Antoine Russell. They don't know him. So they're seeing Elvis Rodriguez all the time. They're not seeing Antoine Russell. Then last night, this weekend just passed, they saw him and saw how much he was out there to massacre. He forced Santiago not even come off the stool. He's a force to be reckoned with at 140. Mark my words, man. Dude's no joke. Absolutely. What y'all think about the Wilder video, man? What y'all think about that? And prepare yourself to basically for all the comments is going to continue, man. I was looking on Facebook and I was seeing how people was saying, can I get a hug? They had Devin Haney's picture up with "Can I get a hug?" And I was like, damn, these motherfuckers are like, they don't have anything better to do. Like, all because somebody held not to get, to get their legs on. They like, hey, can we get a hug? I was like, damn, they motherfucking ruthless in this camp, man. For real. They do not care. What do y'all think about Deontay's words that he want to, decapitate Tyson Fury? Do you think, Wilder as a fighter, being he won the arbitration, do you think he has more fans than he did walking in there February 22nd to face Fury? Do you think more fans are inclined to support him now that they know he's not just about his work in the ring, but he's out? He's more about his business outside the ring too. Let me know what you think.
Ken said, I remember when the zone didn't want Devin Cook, Hyperman around. All of a sudden, it's his last fight. And not only is he there, but they give Floyd Senior front row seats. They give Floyd for real. When you go to most of the fights out here, shit, you're gonna see Floyd Mayweather Senior for real. Well, Floyd Senior. You're gonna see Floyd Senior in the building. I mean, I don't know. It must be nice to have that royalty treatment. Real talk. It must be nice to have that royalty treatment. Real talk. I mean, it is what it is, man. I don't have nothing to say about it. For real. But people, that's what I got right now. Appreciate you for turning up and tuning in. Man, you know what it is. Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul is going down this weekend. I don't know how many of you are going to be in Miami to check that fight out, but I can tell you somebody who's not. It won't be me. You know, it won't be me. I don't have no apologies. It's just not something I'm choosing to do. But I will tell you, I will be at Gervonta Davis and Mario Barrios. Can't wait to that fight. That's going down this month. Can't wait. Gervonta Davis at 140. Can't wait, shouty. He's coming back to the ATL too. Yes, sir. Just can't wait to that fight. Mario Barrios has height. You know what I'm saying? He has reach. Another challenge for Gervonta, moving up in weight, facing a bigger fighter, taller. It's going to be very, very interesting to watch, man. Because a lot of people, their first comment about Gervonta is his height, his small. You know, he's small, this, that, and the other. But they leave out the fact that he's a savage, man. Gervonta do this. Gervonta Davis really do this boxing shit. We can talk about his personal shit all day long if you choose to do that. I don't do it. But I'm just saying, he really do this boxing shit. Loma ran for 6 straight rounds, obsessively, clinch in the 12th, and also headbutted T.O. He didn't get the hate Haney's receiving right now. Talk to him, bro. Talk to him. That's what you call identification. The shit that Ken mentioned earlier about them waiting around to see who's winning the Wilder Fury, and then this shit right here makes sense. You're right. Loma did fight dirty. Not only did he fight dirty, but he came up with a million excuses. Oh, my shoulder was hurting the whole fight. But if he would have had some success and stopped T.O. or knocked him down in the 12th round, it wouldn't have been no shoulder issue. It wouldn't have been no shoulder issue. But the fact that he was fighting dirty, headbutting, and all that shit Mitch just mentioned, yes, he didn't get the hate. You know why? Because it's a fine line when it comes to racism in boxing. I'm serious. The MMA community is much different than boxing. Boxing has this unbelievable divide when it comes to the scrutiny that is placed on black fighters. It's just fact. It's just fact. And you're absolutely right when it comes to the headbutts and everything else that goes along with it. That's true words, bro. That's true. We can definitely see Haney learn something from the Gamboa fight. He did. It's just, if they, Haney has all this speed, just use your mobility. Be elusive. I think he's trying to be elusive without giving up space. That's what it seemed like to me. Like, to be more entertaining instead of moving around all the time, he's working on keeping close distance, landing a nice volume of punches, and not being touched or not receiving damage, subjecting himself to damage, but yet staying close to it, close to the fight, enough to be able to land his punches. He didn't hardly run, or so they call running, or using his footwork to create distance between him and Jorge Linares. He pretty much stayed close distance, man. and fought. You can't say he didn't fight. He fought. He fought and fought. He stayed there. He might have felt that Linares was getting tired when he wasn't. And he just wanted to give the fans a show. But you can't sit up here and continue to try to please the fans, bro, because they're never going to be satisfied. 1 minute you winning, they love you. The next, they have you on every meme in the motherfucking book. On freaking IG, Twitter, Facebook. You know what I'm saying? And you saying to yourself, damn, I went in there and fought my heart out. And these motherfuckers still not satisfied. That's just like Edgar Berlanga. He might not receive as much criticism and going to distance with Damon Nicholson. But he went the distance, which is something that's common in boxing. But his people and fans was there and saying, no, we want you to continue to knock these motherfuckers out. So he was up there dropping Nicholson. It was like, okay, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And when it didn't happen, you didn't hear shit about it. Oh, he basically went in there and dominated. If they're cheering on the fighter and he doesn't get the stoppage, they say, oh, he dominated. He dominated. He damn near won every round. He dominated. But they won't criticize him like they would do Haney for just holding, trying to get his legs back. And then, he hop up on the ropes for the crowd approval. And they booing him. They booing him as if they totally ignored the first half of the fight. Damn. You know what? The way I think now, I couldn't be at the near the top level, on the top level of combat sports, and especially boxing, rather. Because I'd be flicking off the bird. I'd be getting my Ricardo Mayorga on. For real. Seriously, I'd be getting my Ricardo Mayorga on. I'll just be disrespectful as shit. No sponsors will want to pick me up. No, we can't pick you up because, you was putting your hand down in the crotch area when you had your middle finger over. It's like, F you! You ungrateful mother. I'll be cussing motherfuckers out. I say, man, I ain't got time for this. I went through a hard training camp. I came here and put on performance just because I faced adversity. Y'all sitting up here, so-and-so's overhyped. He's not as good as we thought he was. With all that experience, you would think he was better than that. Long was 30 seconds from damn near getting stopped. Haney peaked from Gamboa. He peaked from Gamboa clinch game. He applied that shit at the correct time too. And you also have to take in consideration, Mitch, also that the similarities between Gamboa and Linares being stationary targets and flat-footed. You know what I'm saying? They was there to be hit with the speed that Devin Haney has. They was there to be hit. I mean, Javier Fortuna, in my opinion, might be a more difficult fight if it came down to it, but don't get me the line on Javier Fortuna because that is not one of my favorite fighters at all, period. But Gamboa and Linares was those type of fighters that center line, and they're going to be there for target practice. But once again, Devin, if you're listening, please don't ask your opponent post-fight to gauge your power. Real talk. That's black man to black man. Real talk. That's real talk. Because I was saying to myself, that's not cool. Don't ask anybody to give you an opinion after a fight on cameras with them rolling, and you're trying to get them to say something so it can be used over and over again. Linares co-signed on it. This is why I tell him that. Because Linares is on Fight Hype. This is how this media shit way. Jorge Linares is on Fight Hype. And he said, something different. Like I said, he gave Devin Haney the brush away answer. On Fight Hype, he told him straight up, his punches, he didn't feel his punches. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. It's no hate, none of that shit. Don't ask these motherfucking fighters about your power. They're not gonna tell you the truth to boost you up. That's why he said, you know, he said, how did you grade my power? Why, bro? Who don't ask an opponent that you just fought that. They're not gonna give you a sincere answer. Because he was just on Fight Hype and he said he didn't feel your punches. Check it out for yourself. I'm not making this shit up. We have to look, especially black fighters in general. You don't have no other fighter co-signing for you. Co-sign for yourself when you go in there and get the victory. Don't ask your opponent about something that the fans are criticizing you for. You put on a damn good performance, but don't ask your opponent to give you a rating on your power. Your opponent already know you got quick hands and he was getting touched up all night. Leave it at that. Don't overstep the boundaries while the cameras are rolling and corner somebody to say, what do you think about my power? Why do that? It's almost like he was trying to blanket the fact that he got caught in the 10th round. Like Linares is back there giving mad credit. And like he's very thankful for getting the opportunity. Like he's showing his gratitude. He's saying thank you over and over again. He's expecting Haney to say, hey, appreciate, being in the ring with you. It was an awesome opportunity, being how many, the experience that you have as a fighter. You caught me with a good shot in the 10th round. I give you credit on that. When you're not giving fighters credit, fighters are going to take that shit to heart. There's fighters out there that saying, you know what? He could have at least told Linares, hey, man, he caught me with a good shot. I was buzzed. What Deontay Wilder said when he got caught for Luis Ortiz, he said, I was buzzed. He gave credit. He said, he caught me. He even was joking about it. He said, woo, Luis Ortiz hit me with that shot. I was buzzed. At least say you was buzzed. But you sitting up here telling the fans that you wanted to pitch a shutout and you wasn't hurt. They just not going to believe that shit. You would have been better off just saying, you know what? Linares, you caught me with a good one. I appreciate it. I mean, that's the sport of combat right there. We're going to get caught with some shots like that sometime, but I'll learn from it. I'll take it into my next fight. That's all. But don't give the man no credit. You think the Mexican fan base want to hear that shit? They're going to take that shit to heart. That's just what they do. You don't want to give a fighter credit? And you want to make it about you? You want a portion of that Mexican fan base to be on your side. You really do. You want the black fan base, which is finicky as shit, but you really want a portion of the Mexican boxing fan base to respect your damn craft. When you in there with Alfredo Santiago, Yorkis Gamboa, then Jorge Linares, and you don't recognize that he did catch you with a good shot on camera, so you can just accept the fact. Like, this is why people are not mentioning Ryan Garcia. Because Ryan Garcia post-fight, he said, woo, he caught me with a good shot. I was like, damn, did you see that? He knocked me down. See, he was being goofy about it. So people are going to look at Ryan Garcia and his age and say, oh, he's a good sport. Come here, buddy. Give me a hug. You're a good sport there, Ryan. And then they're going to treat Ryan with that goofy respect. They're going to say, Ryan, he's in this sport. We don't know how far he's going to go. He's an interim. He's a good guy, though. Because when he was dropped by Luke Campbell, he made light of it. So we respect him for that. But if you just don't want to give credit for shit, like, damn, you got to give credit. It's good sportsmanship in the art of combat, man. Come on, bro. Seriously, man. You gotta, man. You have to give it up. Sometimes you have to give it up for real. You have to give it up. People are gonna slay you out here in this media when you not want to give fighters the respect, even though coming up on a loss, even though you beat him. You have to understand that Jorge did land that right hand to hurt you. Right or wrong. Let's see. Let me check this out right here. Josh Taylor fought a little dirty also. He didn't have two against Ramirez. Hey, Josh Taylor was fighting to prove a point. Like shit. I ain't gonna say how many cross faces I seen going in that fight this weekend. Like you putting your forearm up in something. I mean, hey, in my eyes, Berlanga need those rounds because moving forward, he needed that experience. I agree. But you know, they was looking at him as a knockout artist, and that's a lot of weight to have on your shoulders to be a knockout artist. But you know, I was looking at his feet. I just want to know how his body language is when he's getting these exchanges and he's looking for the knockout. And I start to see it. I start to see the body language in Edgar Berlanga. He would get the high guard, slide, he would frame up, he would slide that right foot back to throw that right. Hey, but that makes all the sense. I agree. It was good. He got the rounds in. He still won convincingly, and you move on to the next. People holding on to the punch Linares landed. I'm looking at the rate of improvement and age of Haney. Combined with his skills and profile, the kid is very well on his way. Can't go backwards from here. This is according to what backwards is to the boxing community there, Mitch. This is according to what backwards is. You know what I'm saying? Like Jorge Linares is the biggest name on his resume, but yet he got caught and didn't get caught with Gamboa. So people might look at this like this wasn't your best performance, but it was. But it was, period. Period. It was his best performance. Hands down, point blank, period. Pete Davenport, appreciate the donation, my brother. Thanks for supporting the channel and tuning in. Salute to you. People will look at it petty as if this performance wasn't his best, and it was. Why? Because he dominated the fight. If you have a 12-round fight, which is championship status, right? Championship rounds, just not like the females who max out at 10. You have 12 rounds to compete. Devin Haney pretty much competed the entire fight now. But when he decided to feel that he didn't have to make any other adjustments heading to the last 3 rounds of the fight, some people, he might have felt that there's no way Jorge Linares is going to catch me now because I'm just too slick. I'm too fast for him. And when Linares caught him, his feet was stationary, anchored. The only thing that was moving was his head. And he was leaning over to the right a lot to avoid punches. And Linares did not stop his hands from moving. And when he caught him with that right hand, the seconds on the clock was a blessing. The seconds on the clock was a blessing, man, because who knows what would have happened if it was 20 more seconds on the clock. Who knows what would have happened? But yes, people are going to hold on to that punch Linares landed. You know what I'm saying? And I agree. Looking at the work rate that Haney put on majority of that fight, like the fight is 12 rounds. 1 through 9, it's an inferno. Linares is being cooked. You don't have to have power to cook somebody. Like he's getting touched up real nice. If it would have been somebody like Teofimo Lopez with power, or anybody that can box like that can hit him. It would have been a little bit different for Linares because he has been stopped 5 times in all of his losses prior to stepping in there with Devin Haney. So before Devin even earned a decision, someone was saying, well, what was the word they use? I had that word on the tip of my tongue. I was reading this article and they say it would be, They was basically trying to say if Haney went the distance, he would be the first to go the distance with Linares and win a decision. So it would be the first loss Linares has had where he went the decision. It would be undeserving, or whatever the word they use, if Haney went the distance with Linares and winning a decision. So they was pretty much putting that cloud over the fight before it even took place. Because the talk is about Devin Haney's power. So being the fact that he fought close quarters the way he did, and he was much more active and physical this fight. I mean, one thing you can say about Haney, he is physical. Like he will put that forearm up in your jawline and he will get physical with you, period. He will get physical. But the fact that they was talking about going to a decision before the fight even took place. In fact, that if Haney is the first one to go to a UD decision, basically they paint the picture already for people to look at it and scrutinize the fight and see if Haney can go ahead and stop Jorge Linares the 6th time. Not considering the fact that Linares had one of the best training camps he probably had in a while. And they was going in there to try to win. Seriously. Linares was in motherfucking shape. That's what happened when you step up competition. Even though Linares has more experience than Haney, Haney forced him to step his game up in training camp to come in there in shape. You know why? Because Haney, speed, his defense, Linares know he's going to... Look, Linares knew Chase was a race, goddammit. Linares knew Chase was a race. He knew he was going to chase that head hunting because they felt like he could knock Devin Haney out. He knew if he dropped Vasil Lomachenko, Linares' team probably felt if they touch Haney the right way, they could drop him. Real talk. They probably felt that way, y'all. But good point there, Ken and Mitch. Appreciate that knowledge. Linares was the step-up fight now. Haney was to continue on with the quality opponents. He had beat the Fortuna versus Diaz winner. Man, you know, I don't know what's going on with Javier Fortuna, why he wants to bow out of all these fights and all the hoopla that was on TBV about them putting a $50,000 check. I just thought that was just baloney. Spoiled baloney. I knew nothing was coming out of it. I'm sick and tired of the boxing shit with all this facade that's going on with the make a fight. Like boxing need to really switch it up. Like just tell your audience you got to fight so we can talk about it. Do you see how that work? Like MMA, they don't have that shit like that. You don't hear MMA, I can't talk about it, this, that. But when it comes to boxing, they say, I got a big fight. I got big fight news. This is boxing language. I got big fight news, y'all. I got big fight news. I can't tell you, though. Big fight news. Big fight news. Can't tell you. Stay tuned. Only in boxing. Jay said he just wanted feedback. No, J8. No. Because any one of my competitors, I didn't ask them anything to tell me nothing. I pretty much, if I didn't prove it to them in the moment, it's no need for me to ask them anything. Because I feel if you're on that level there, J8, and you believe within yourself on what you've been able to apply to your opponent, they will give you that respect without you asking. You see it all the time. When you really true to your game, people give you the respect. And then if y'all become cordial and y'all friends, they say, hey, this is one thing. I know I was able to outwork you or whatever. This is something you need to work on. Blase, blase, blase. But I would never ask the opposition to give me credit or to compliment me. If I did what I was supposed to do, they're going to give it to me anyway. I think Devin Powell will develop. He is only 22. Okay. That's outside my medical scope. Seriously. That's outside my medical scope. Because I'm going to tell you, the game don't work like that, bro. The game don't work like that. It might be a certain way you can switch up your style, but you just don't say, well, you're growing into your man strength. Man, that's just a common phrase that they use. Oh, you go on your man strength. You know or you don't know. Usually these what they call it, these man childs are freakish at a very young age. And then they peak out around their early 20s. They just don't continue to say, okay, he growing to his man strength. He going to put some more size, and you hit the weights. Of course you could be stronger. But let me give you this scenario there, J8. Let's just say you right in, him growing up and he's continued to grow and develop, right? So what would you suggest training wise that he can do to increase power? Because a lot of people are looking at the fact that, they're just going to criticize he don't have any power. But then you have to look at the speed aspect. That is a plus, a huge plus that they have. Defensive speed, offensive speed. That's two things that's two areas that a lot of fighters don't have in the sport the way he does. He has those two areas. In order for him to apply power to his offense, do you believe he needs to get on some strength and conditioning? Not saying he don't have any already, but how can you create power when it comes to boxing? When you're already doing all the necessities already? How can you create power in the sport of boxing? If you're able to tell me that, then you might be a millionaire tomorrow. Seriously. Fighters don't like the word hurt. Yeah, hurt is a word that signifies a much severe condition that you want them to talk about in the media. Only some people can say, yeah, he hurt me. I'm telling you who that is. You get some Mexican fighters or you get some European fighters that just done banged it out like Gennady Golovkin. Yeah, he caught me with a good shot. No, that's a poor analogy. Because Gennady Golovkin won't never admit to being hurt. Hell no. Hell no. That's a poor damn example. I just stick to what you said. Fighters don't like to use the word hurt. Buzz is a less intensive word to apply to a situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I was buzzed. But you was barely walking. But I was buzzed. It's just like the word they used to use back in the day when you was intoxicated. You was feeling right, man. I'm buzzing like a motherfucker, dog. I'm buzzing. I don't know if those two are the same, but in the sport of boxing, to say you was hurt would definitely give your opponent. I mean, yeah, absolutely. That's ammo for your next opponent. And hey, he said so-and-so hurt him, man. So-and-so hurt him. But if you say that you was buzzed, they like, okay, there's a flash punch right there. He was just buzzed a little bit. I get it. But you got to own up to it, man. Yeah, but he caught Linares too. And Linares say Devin has no power. He can catch him all day long, but, Linares said, you have to look at it all around, Jay. I'm not sure how many articles you read, how many interviews. You're not boxing media, so I get that you might not tune in. I understand it, because if I wasn't doing it, I wouldn't be damn reading all this shit either. But look at it in this perspective, right? You said, yeah, but he caught Linares too. No one said he never caught Linares. But Linares did not ask Devin Haney, what do you think about my power? Linares know he hurt Devin Haney, so he didn't have to ask the question. That's what I'm saying. If someone identifies that you have did something that was special, considered special, like, man, you got me. You got me. No doubt about it. They don't have to tell me, because I know I did. The fact that he was trying to act like El Matador, like he was waving the bull that was hurt. They had already stuck the arrows in him and shit. He already knew from the body language of Devin walking back to his corner. But it was not one time that Devin was able to put him in that position while Linares was walking back to his corner and he was hurt. He didn't have to ask. He didn't ask. Devin asked. Ken said, what is wrong with getting caught with a shot from a guy who is the best fighter on your resume? I don't know, man. Like I said before earlier, some of these fighters get caught. They praise him to the high waters. They glorify the shit out of him. So-and-so was dropped 2 or 3 times during this fight. They somewhat praised Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward. Straight all out war. But some fighters don't get that love, man. Some fighters don't get that love like that. Like if you do it clean like Cool Boy Steph, they look at it like, oh yeah, good fight, man. Awesome. But it wasn't no adversity, really. It was just he was touching Angelo Leo up, but Angelo was still standing and he was in the fight. You look at the Brandon Figueroa fight and Luis Nery. That fight being broken down. You start to see the size difference take its toll. We didn't see that type of breakdown in Haney Linares, but we did see it coming with Luis Nery. We saw it. We saw him breaking down. It was only a matter of time. And then he hit him with that body shot. He went down. It was over. But I can tell you why Haney is getting so much criticism. I can tell you the numero uno reason why Haney is getting criticism is because they are placing Devin Haney in the silhouette of Floyd Mayweather. And they are embracing it. So when you're coming out here and you want to fight like Floyd and you want to be elusive and you want people to respect you for being a defensive wizard, people are going to grade you even though they don't have the experience to do it. They're going to give you the criticism. And I can always hear Roger Mayweather. They don't know shit about boxing, but they would sit up here and critique you because of what's in the media. Hey, they comparing him to Floyd Mayweather. Let's see. People need to leave that Floyd Mayweather curse alone. Leave the Floyd Mayweather curse alone. Even Floyd has been hurting his career. But they need to leave the Floyd Mayweather comparison alone. If you continue to embrace it and you feel like that's going to bring you more attention and you want to be the villain when it comes to Floyd, okay. But know this. Floyd made some tough shit from the time the fight was signed to the presser. He made some predetermined tough fighters look like easy work. Easy work. That's what Floyd did. Pretty boy. Shit. True boxers and true punchers are born with that gift. They just have to fine tune it. I totally agree. Good point. Solid. A lot of these fighters who are born with this distinct power, like they totally understand they possess it. It doesn't come to them in their 20s, man. It's just not something that arrive. Say, you know what, I'm getting stronger. Shit, it just doesn't happen. And once again, that's just my opinion. I've never seen it happen. As the state police say on a billboard, buzz driving is still drunk driving. Kid up here reading billboards and shit on Memorial Day. Man, you ain't on the side of the road, are you? Like, God damn it. That's a setup right there. I see this billboard. They got a checkpoint up the road, dog. I'm pulling over this motherfucker. He said, as state police say on billboards, buzz driving is still drunk driving. And you ain't the popo. You ain't 12, are you, that kid? For real, you ain't 12, are you? That's hilarious, man. I got to put that shit up. That's hilarious. That is hilarious, man. As state police say on billboard, buzz driving is still drunk driving. Damn. Yeah, I feel, but for Linares, he is a vet. He don't need to question his power. It is solidified. Different situation. It's not. Well, you brought up the situation in comparison to me saying why Devin asked him about his power. You telling me it's a different situation is what I explained already. Of course, it's a situation because one fighter was hurt. Even though Devin Haney touched him up for 9 solid rounds, he did not come off as being hurt just because he was being touched over and over again. He did not come off to me at any given time as being hurt. But the defining round of the fight was that right-handed that landed in the 10th. Seriously. So I already know it's a different situation. What does being a vet have to do with it? I'm going to tell you how to debunk that, J8. You cannot say Linares is a vet when Devin Haney is a champion. You can't praise him for being a champion, but then talk about he's only 22 and Linares a vet. Don't come over here with that. No way, no how, shawty. You can't sit up here and say, oh, look at him. He's only 22 years old. He's only 21 years old. And he's already a champion. But yet, when he have a fight like this that's tough, then then you want to come back with, well, he's only this. So you expect Linares, who has over 40-some fights, to somehow, some way, earn the advantage in touching Devin on the chin. No, that's not the case. You can say the same with Teofimo Lopez. You can't say the action, the punishment he received with Nakatani. He stepped up to fight at 18-0 Nakatani. And he took punishment, but he made adjustments and won the fight. He went in there, crushed Richard Comey, and beat Vasil Lomachenko. You cannot sit up here and give excuses in one standards to praise him at 21 years old for being a champion or whatever the case, and then turn back around when he go through adversity. You want to say, well, his opponent was a vet. Devin Haney is a vet. He is a champion. He is a world champion. That I don't agree with what you said. I don't agree with it at all. Find your lane and stick with it and build upon it. You can't sit up here and babysit. He's been in the game for a long enough time to make it to this tier, this championship tier he's in. When they say the top 5 in the lightweight division, his name is up there. So therefore, you can't say, well, he needs to get a better opponent. So you go with Gamboa, and since Gamboa did not hurt him, we're going to leave him out the equation. We're going to leave Gamboa out the equation because he didn't hurt him. But Linares hurt him. You want to say, well, he's a vet. A lot of these fighters are vet. These former world champions, a lot of them are vets, dog. But you have to understand, when you reach it to the top as a champion, and your name is a popular, a prominent name in the sport of boxing, like Devin Haney, then guess what? You have to own up to your performance. You have to go in there and accept what you accept. Period. You have to make it happen. It can't make no excuses. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear it. You can't praise him for being 21 and a champion and then sit up here and coddle him when Linares, who has way more fights, they chose to sign that fight. What are you going to say about Vasyl Lomachenko? How many fights does he have? Are you going to give him the same credit? A man who was in the Olympics fighting boys, you know, 2-time gold standard, come over here and try attempted to get a title in his second professional fight. Are you going to give him the same coddling? Being that a lot of his opponents had more fights than him? No, Jay, you can't do that, sir. You can't do it, Shouty. You can't do it. Devin Haney, boxer, Belanga, puncher, but they have to fine-tune their skills as they step up in competition. True enough. They absolutely do. It's called the sweet science for a reason. You have to stay in the lab and make it happen. Ain't no excuses over here, you know, praising the fighter. They're young in the game and they already champion. But yet, as they increase their competition and they face adversity, now the excuses want to come in to say, well, Linares, he was a vet. What do you think? What do you think Haney is right now? What do you think Teofimo Lopez, Richard Comey? How many fights does Ryan Garcia has? He has over 20 wins. Look at Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. How many fights do he have? Are you going to say Jerome Ennis a vet? Look how many fights he had comparable to Errol Spence. Is he a world champion yet? I mean, come on, bro. That's you can't go there with me, Shawty. For real. Because if you look at the amount of fights Jerome Ennis got, he's a vet. You're not a vet just because, oh, well, you know, you got to have 40 some odd fights and 5 losses via knockout to be considered a vet. No. People enter the sport of boxing at different ages. People enter the sport of boxing at different ages. Just say you're a 25-year-old. You start boxing at 25 years old, and your record is 7-0. People look at your age. Let's just say you're 7-0, and you damn near you started boxing when you was 25, and you're 7-0. You about to turn 30. They're gonna call you a vet. At 30 years old, you 7-0. They're gonna call you a vet. What's the tag you're gonna put on that? How do you verify? How do you identify what is considered a vet? The amount of fights you have or how old you are? Because the entry point of boxing allows individuals to come in at different ages. I've already told you, you don't have to have amateur experience. You can just get approved, pass the medicals, and pass the other physical, and you're good. You're straight. You really don't start getting tested until you get ranked. So you can go up here and feel how you want to feel. Real talk. You can be out here big baby down, goddammit. Where's that syringe again? I'm ready for my next shot. I'm here. I feel good. Give it to me. Let's go. We got to get this training in. I'm telling you. That's why motherfuckers be getting caught. But anyway, I appreciate the input, though. And you're totally right. There was a different situation. I explained that earlier. It was a different situation. But Linares never asked for somebody to grade his power. Tell me what you think about my power. Why? Who cares? You put on a boxing clinic damn near the entire fight. I'm going home like I put on a boxing clinic. I just have to be a little bit more patient to stay focused, keep my distance, and don't put myself in a dangerous situation to get caught. That's all I got to do. That would have been a wash. That would have been 12 rounds to zero. That would have been an absolute wash, man. But who knows? It might have been cardio, it might have been whatever. But you can't say Devin Haney didn't go in there and put on a damn sweet science. He didn't put on down. He wasn't boxing Jorge Linares' ears off. Look, if he would have went to 12 rounds with the performance he had 1 through 9, when he asked Linares that question, he shouldn't have been able to hear him. Nah, my ears are still in the ring. I'm waiting for them to attach them when I go to the doctor. He shouldn't even be able to hear goddamn Haney's ask them a question, period. But I appreciate y'all for pulling up, man. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the donations. Until next time.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 cents for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, boom. Major look.
Bomb Squad!